The funding for this video is provided by the amazing members of my Patreon. Also contributions from viewers like you. Thank you. Yeah, I started from PBS Kids. What you gonna do? Fight me? Anyway, roll the video.
You know, because I know it's cliche to say it's a different kind of show. But it's a different show.
I mean, we didn't even talk about the art yet.
No, let's talk about the art for a minute.
Hello everyone, welcome in, settle down, okay? I know we're excited, but sit down. I say be quiet, listen to me. I'm in charge, I'm talking. We are here for another edition of an unhinged breakdown. If you don't know what an unhinged breakdown is, it is basically where I explain a show, movie, franchise, whatever the fuck, to somebody that most likely don't know a thing about it, okay? There's so many things that go into it, so many different elements, so many characters, and I want to explain the overall so people can have a basic understanding of it. And 9 times out of 10, unhinged breakdowns give people interest in these things. And for the record, an unhinged breakdown is really explaining the characters, the settings, and their interactions within each other. Within each other? You mean with each other? Yes. An unhinged breakdown is not an overall summary of the series. If you want an overall summary of the series, go to fandom.com, go to Wikia, because this ain't what this is. Today's unhinged breakdown is going to be the Powerpuff Girls. Now, I actually wrote some notes down on something I wanted to say before we begin the unhinged breakdown, bringing out the handy dandy notebook, but I have a little statement I want to make first before we get there, because there is just this giant elephant in the room that surrounds the Powerpuff Girls nowadays, and I feel like we can't go on without speaking about it, so here we go. For the record, this video is going to be strictly about the one that came out in 1998, okay? And I know someone is gonna want me to talk about that live action Powerpuff Girls pilot that never saw the light of day. So I will say this. After this unhinged breakdown, you will understand why the Powerpuff Girls just needs to stay animated, okay? There are different iterations, different versions. There's literally a whole anime. We're just talking about the one that started it all, also known as Powerpuff Girls Classic. So the first thing you always need to know when you're coming into a new series is its premise. Oh no, I dropped the pen. So what exactly is this? The Powerpuff Girls is literally a show about these 3 5-year-old girls that are superheroes and they are saving the day. They get called out of class to go fight crime. They get called out of their sleep to go fight crime too, just as well. It's honestly really kind of messed up when you think about it. Those are children, child labor laws need to come intact. It's something, because I noticed somebody had said something about this and it really made me think of the Powerpuff Girls, but they were like, people are all against kids working unless it's like a child actor. And I was like, no, that's literally what you can say about the Powerpuff Girls. Y'all all against kids working unless they like saving the city, because none of y'all asses can do it yourselves. And mind you, everybody in this town is so dependent on these 5-year-olds to, like, you know, save the day. Where are the cops? Where's the FBI? They don't do shit. They absolutely don't do shit. But aside from the show being about the Powerpuff Girls fighting crime to save the day, we also, you know, get to see them being girly, them doing whatever. We see them interact at their school. We see them interact with each other as sisters, and we also see the dynamic that they have with their father. And that is one thing about the series that I always really liked, that they did have that great relationship with their dad. But also, the professor could have been a much better daddy to them. We ain't gonna bring that up at another time, okay? That is the overall premise of the Powerpuff Girls. That's just pretty much everything you need to know about the basics. What the overall show is just about 3 girls fighting crime. Moving on to the next section.
I'm gon' grind till I die. Only thing I got is money on my mind. I ain't thinking about you.
The setting for the Powerpuff Girls, which is in the city of Townsville. Literally, that is the introduction of every episode. The city of Townsville. And oftentimes, it's usually followed by, it's under attack. That's why I said it is a very ghetto place. Don't come here. And I'm not even joking when I say that the city of Townsville is very ghetto. Like, look at what is on its Wikia page. Like, it's basically begging y'all not to come. This city is most famous for an active volcano found in Townsville Central Park, which would later become the base for Mojo Jojo's observation. The city is also famous for crime rates, giant monster attacks, day savings, Little Tokyo District, and Taffy. The city of Townsville is weird because it's designed to be like New York City, but it takes place in a county called Pocoyoke County, and Pocoyoke County is home to the school that the girls attend called Pocoyoke. Is it just Pocoyoke School or is it Pocoyoke Elementary? I should know this. Anyway, it don't matter. But then they were talking about how the Powerpuff Girls is designed after New York City and modeled after it because of a lot of things that happen. Because one thing I have noticed about people that live in New York or who have been to New York City, that they tell you that there's always some wild, crazy shit going on there. And there's always something going on in the city of Townsville. But as it is very much reminiscent of New York City, it's weird because it don't really even feel like New York until it gets into like the city portion of it. But when you look at the people's houses and whatever, it looks a bit like a suburb. It is known that the Powerpuff Girls city, Townsville, takes place in California. And I have something to say about this. I'm tired of cartoons taking place in California. I'm absolutely fucking tired of it, okay? I get it. I understand it. The only place really in the American animation industry where you can go and get work from in person, unless you're doing remote like indie projects or whatever, the place where most of the animation jobs are, you have to go to fucking Los Angeles, you have to go to California. So that's not really much of a surprise that so many of the cartoons take place in California. But it gets annoying because I'm not even joking, so many series out here take place in California. Like The Amazing World of Gumball takes place in California, which is funny because the show is literally fucking produced in Europe. And Harry, you're just sitting here like, why are you complaining so much about the city of California? City of California, the state of California, I'm not. It's just so obvious. Like, somebody even made a joke about it before, talking about how, why do all cartoons look the same? Like, it's not even like similar art styles or anything like that. It's just the entire geography of it. And everyone's like, oh, because they model it all after places in California. That's why they look the way they do. Because I love Amphibia, hands down. I was not happy when I found out it took place in Los Angeles. I was like, can we go somewhere else? Can we please expand our horizons? And one thing that upsets me the most about this is that this is really a problem with, like, you know, children's animation. Adult animation know how to get the fuck out of California. They know how to leave. Y'all can leave too. Hi, this was supposed to be a video insert, but the video won't load, so we're doing a blank voiceover. But I wanted to go a little bit more in detail. We don't know where Townsville takes place at. It takes place in any town, USA, meaning that it does take place in America, but we don't know where it is. And there actually are places in the world by the name of Townsville. But here's the deal. As I mentioned, that many of the things within the series are modeled after places within California. That is a common thing with the sake of like animation, especially when it comes to children's animation, because when it comes to children's animation, a lot of these shows don't really have like a set location. They just like, okay, we can put it anywhere in the United States. But when it comes down to it, a lot of these shows tend to look the same for, like, you know, the sake of atmosphere, because like so much of it is modeled after the same places and whatnot, because a lot of it looks like suburban California. But that's just what I was saying right there. I don't want people trying to hop on me saying I'm wrong about this and that and the third. I just ranted a bit about how a lot of cartoons kind of look the same when it comes to setting, because I understand animation, like the hub for it is in Los Angeles, California. So it's not even just Los Angeles, because I know Pixar up in San Francisco. I understand that like you like model after what you know and what things look like. It just kind of gets a little frustrating. I wish we would just see more range when it comes to locations. That's why I kind of like it a little bit more when shows establish where it takes place at, or they make it very clear that it's not over there. Like, I liked Hey Arnold so much because it didn't look like California. And that's one thing I appreciate about Class of 3000, was because Class of 3000 took place in Atlanta and it looked like it. I just want shows to start looking different, please. Cartoons specifically. Back to the video. But overall, the city of Townsville, very ghetto city. The mayor is basically the person that is in charge of it, and that's literally his name, the mayor. Is he good at his job? No. And also the person that assists the mayor, which is basically his sexy secretary, Miss Sarah Bellum. She basically is the one that's able to keep him in check. And sometimes she be getting so annoyed with him. But that's basically all you need to know about Townsville. Half of it looks like a very suburban area. The other half looks like the super duper big city. But overall, is this a place that you want to settle down in? Is this a place that you want to live in if you want a quiet life? Hell no. But is this a place that you want to live in and you know you're going to see something entertaining every day? Yes, because I kid you not, if there was a monster fight going on outside, I would be very interested. But then also, think about it, y'all. I saw a post that was like, if superheroes were real, y'all would hate them. No, Townsville be getting fucked up. Like after they fight, especially the Dynamo episode. I would have hated the Powerpuff Girls for like 2 weeks straight, okay? They ruined the road that I needed to go on to go to work. And I can't get on it no more, so I have to take the back way that adds an extra 20 minutes to my drive. I would not like y'all for that. That's all you need to know about the setting. You got the basis down on what this entire world is like. Overall, I think Townsville is very cute. It's a very cute area, but let me tell you something about Townsville. Just because it looks cute does not mean that it's all that great. I'm telling you, a lot of these cities out here in America that look nice, very much problematic. Miami, I think, is one of the best examples. Moving on. Our introduction to our girls, the big three. We have Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup. Blossom is the one that I would say is the nice and mean one. Because let's be honest, Blossom was nice, but she could be fucking mean, okay? Bubbles is basically the nice one, but let's be real, Bubbles was not always all that nice. And Buttercup, basically labeled as the mean one. I'm gonna be honest, all three of these girls were mean. That's just the truth. All three of them could be really mean at times. But like, they're 5, come on y'all. They're 5. One thing about the Powerpuff Girls is that they were 5, but I'm gonna be honest, they acted like 10-year-olds. But that also just had to do with the fact that they low-key kind of made their ages a little ambiguous, but then at the same time, they told us that the girls were in kindergarten, so that meant they had to be either 5 or 6 years old. But then also, if you ever interacted with an actual 5-year-old, like being around my little cousin not too long ago, no. They act like 10-year-olds. They do act older than their age. But the other kids in their class, well, those are 5-year-olds. So we're going to talk about each girl individually before we go ahead and get into it. But first, we're going to start with Blossom. As I said, Blossom is the nice and mean one. She basically is the HBIC. The reason why Blossom is the leader, whether y'all like it or not, because people be complaining and being like, why is Blossom the leader? I don't like her all that much. The reason why Blossom is a leader of Bubbles and Buttercup is because, let's be real, if Bubbles was the leader, nothing would get done. And if Buttercup was the leader, everything would be on fire in the end. Blossom and Blossom has a good combination of both the good traits with both Bubbles and Buttercup. She's also really nice, but she knows when to be really mean. Blossom, in my opinion, I'd say is a bit blunt and assertive, and that's because she's the mean girl. She's the head girl. She has to be the one that's super duper smart, because that's another reason why she's the leader. She's smarter than both of them. I'm gonna be honest, Bubbles and Buttercup are not that smart. Absolutely not. Like, people be so quick to say that Buttercup is not that bright. No, Bubbles was not that bright either. Let's go ahead and call it out there. So there's numerous ongoing reasons on why Blossom is the leader, but it's because she's smart, she's blunt, she's assertive, but also she has the positive traits that are both with Bubbles and Buttercup. But just because she has the positive traits with these two that contribute to her being the HBIC, it has its consequences, because Blossom has a bossy problem. She can be very fucking bossy, and oftentimes she does not want to listen to her sisters. She be thinking that she know everything, which I understand because Blossom is super duper smart, but sometimes she just don't listen. Sometimes she just don't listen. She don't want to listen, and she thinks because she knows so much more than her sisters that they don't know anything and she doesn't have to listen to what they have to say. But no, we have been proven wrong again, that when Blossom doesn't listen to the other two, bad things happen. And then also, I'm over here talking and praising Blossom, but Blossom did make mistakes, because there was an entire episode where she ended up stealing something. Bad girl. We don't do that. But for the most part, I be feeling bad for Blossom, because she's like no one's favorite Powerpuff Girl. When everyone's talking about who their favorite Powerpuff Girl is, they either say Bubbles or Buttercup. Barely anybody wants to say Blossom. But I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really start to like Blossom more until I became grown, versus when I did when I was a kid, because I understood her a lot more. Because when I was younger, I was like, oh, she bossy, and I don't like bossy girls. But now that I'm grown, I'm like, no, she had to put these two in check, and she also used to have the other kids in check too. So we stand queen right there. Moving on to the next queen, we have Princess Bubbles. Bubbles is the nice one. She is the super duper sweet, cute, and girly one. She likes all things pretty, which is funny because she doesn't have the color pink, and that's something I find kind of interesting, because anytime we have a super duper girly character that's so into frilly things and whatever the fuck, like, you know, that kind of stuff, her color would be pink, but her color is light blue, which is another reason why I attached myself to Bubbles a lot when I was growing up, because y'all should know what my favorite color is at this point. It is light blue. So that's something I found very interesting when it came to Bubbles' character, that they take that shift a bit when it came to how they wanted to portray her with her main color. It makes sense why Blossom is the head and she has the color pink, because, you know, pink is also known as like the girly color, the main girly color. So it makes sense why the person in the middle would have pink. But Bubbles, on the other hand, she's nice. She likes to draw. She likes to sing, and she's really, really bad at it. Honestly, all three of them can't sing. They all can't sing. It's annoying. That episode with love, like, oh Jesus, it's bad. Y'all thought I sounded bad singing it? No, that's what they sound like singing it. I'm not even joking. Bubbles, for the most part, I don't really have much to say about it, because I don't know. She's just sweet. She cry a lot. I understand that. She cry a lot. Sometimes she's too nice for her own good, because sometimes she wants to do something feeling as if she's super nice, but then on the other hand, it backfires because she realizes that her kindness was being taken for a weakness, which is why she's not the leader. And also, Bubbles doesn't really like to be labeled as the cute one sometimes. She doesn't like to be labeled as the sweet one. And because of that, it has led to her becoming sensitive, and her sensitivity has led to her making very bad decisions. And I've noticed that all three of the girls have made very bad decisions at certain points within their lives. But when it came to Blossom making bad decisions, it was basically because she wanted to seem like the perfect child. She wanted to be overall good. She wanted to be liked and appreciated by everyone. But when Bubbles made bad decisions, it was because of her sensitivity. She didn't like how people viewed her as soft and girly and sweet. She wanted people to see her in a more harsher light, I'd say. And that's because I felt like she didn't think people took her seriously because of her nature. But that's just pretty much the gist of Bubbles' character. I think one of my favorite looks from hers was that episode where she had on that that red hat. I thought that was a look and I thought it was cute. Next, the third powerpuff girl, which is Buttercup, also known as the mean one. Buttercup, in my opinion, she's mean, but I also think she's pretty kind too, because a lot of people really do like Buttercup. They just understand that her personality is a little different from Blossom and Bubbles, because Blossom and Bubbles are a bit more overall all around people. But Buttercup, on the other hand, it takes you a minute to understand her personality, and you'll see that, oh, she is nice. She's just a bit different than them two. Buttercup, 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 Buttercup. I'd say that even though all three of the girls have gotten in some kind of trouble differently with each other, Buttercup is the one that has gotten in trouble simply because she didn't want to fucking listen. Buttercup is so hard-headed. So many of the issues that happen within the series with Buttercup is because she don't want to listen to her, or her and Bubbles go off and do something stupid together and it just doesn't work. Because I'm gonna be real, that entire episode where Bubbles and Buttercup chopped off Blossom's hair, I didn't like it. That one just felt so nasty, so rude. And one thing I can't stand when it comes to television is when characters do something so out of character and it feels off. Well, yes, the girls may argue and fight over any little thing or whatever, but they be fighting over the remote. They be fighting over a toy. They'll be fighting over who's gonna do what on a mission. They would never just sit there and chop each other's hair off like that. That's another video for another time, because I have that planned, because that scene still pisses me off to this day, because I really didn't like that. And I mentioned how Bubbles was sensitive. Buttercup is also a bit sensitive just as well. But when it comes to sensitivity, they both react differently, because if Bubbles is sensitive, she'll cry. If Buttercup is being sensitive, she'll get defensive and yell at somebody, or like, you know, because Buttercup, she is not too much different from Bubbles, in my opinion, when it comes to how they respond to how people view them and treat them. Because as Buttercup is a risk taker, her sensitivity is what led to her taking risks, because she's like, oh, I don't want to be told what to do, but then people are also questioning me. Let me go do something so they won't continue to question me. Buttercup, in my opinion, I feel like she was a little insecure on what people had to think about her. I felt like she constantly wanted to have this look going on, like she has to be the tough one. Because, you know, in the song, it literally says Buttercup, she's the toughest fighter. I feel like she constantly wants to push that narrative, and she acts any way other than that, it's not gonna be good. And Buttercup, it's okay, you're sensitive, it's okay to admit it, you're nice, you're not that mean as you present yourself to be. It's okay, girl, it's okay. But I have this thing down at the bottom that says they are all annoying. All three of them are annoying as hell sometimes, okay? There are episodes where Blossom is getting on my nerves. There's episodes where Buttercup is getting on my nerves. There's episodes where Bubbles is getting on my nerves. But basically, there are episodes where it's just them arguing and I'm just like, I can't stand you. But then also, they're literally elementary school. We were all annoying at that age. So it makes sense, okay? It makes sense why the powerpuff girls were annoying. If they weren't annoying, they would not be the girls that we all know and love today. Now we got the big three done. These are the people that you need to know first before you go into any more details. Let's continue. we have the daddy of the series, and that is the professor, also known as Professor Utonium. Now, a lot of people be having this question about why did he make the Powerpuff Girls? And I can give you an answer. It's honestly simple, and it ain't that deep as y'all thinking it is. But the man simply just wanted a family. He just simply wanted kids. There are a lot of people out here that desire to have children, but not have a romantic partner. There's a lot of people out here that want to have babies. They want to have children, but they're not interested in, you know, being with someone else. Like, aromanticism is real, and the professor is not a romantic, if I'm being correct. He's very much heterosexual from what we have seen within the series. But there's a lot of times where people just aren't really in the mood to like settle down and have a partner and all of that jazz. They just simply are like, I just want children at this point in my life. I don't care about having a romantic partner, and it's honestly not a good thing to simply just get with somebody because you want children. Because if you want children with somebody and you meet them right off the bat, that's different, but you don't know if you guys are going to be compatible, and then also that's going to cause an issue for the children. But yeah, he just simply wanted children. But somebody has said something about it's the Powerpuff Girls, y'all. One thing people don't seem to understand is that the Powerpuff Girls is camp. They're gonna do stuff like how we do in real life, but they're gonna go about it in a different way. Because one thing about Professor Utonium is that he's really, really smart. But one thing that we have learned about a lot of super duper smart scientific people is that they tend to make stupid things. And I'm talking about scientific people in cartoon worlds, okay? Not in real life. They tend to make really bad decisions with, you know, their experiments. Dexter's Lab is a great example, but also a more modern day example that I won't shut up about would have to be Moon Girl, because Lanella literally brought a dinosaur back to life within the series. So instead of the professor going to an adoption agency or the bank, I can't say that because YouTube gonna demonetize me. He just decided to, you know, why don't I just make up an experiment and make them? And the experiment went wrong, as it always does. He ended up spilling chemical X in there. And then mind you, I don't think that was like a smart idea of him to have, where he, you know, like why was that so close to that? I think he really should have been a little bit more careful. But then also, so much of this series is like, you know, the professor's experiments going wrong. Literally in the introduction of every episode, he made them with sugar, spice, and everything nice. And he was trying to create the perfect little girl. So basically all of the good traits that are within Blossom and Bubbles and Buttercup, he was trying to have just simply one daughter. But you know, the experiment didn't go all that well, and he ended up having 3 different girls that all had different messes of their own, which is a lot more realistic because there's no such thing as the perfect girl. Like, I know a lot of people were talking about the only perfect woman out here would have to be Barbie, but because of Barbie not being perfect, that's the reason why so many people grew this resentment towards her, including myself. Part of the reason why me and so many other people love the Powerpuff Girls and identify with them is because they weren't perfect. Well, yes, they were well liked and adored by everyone. They had issues. They were unhinged. But as I mentioned, that's really just the professor and how he, you know, created his daughters. Now, I do have my thoughts and opinions about the professor as a dad, because don't get me wrong, he loves his daughters, but there's just certain things that come into tact when it comes to the girls and like their safety and their overall well-being, because you gotta remember they're young and they're literally out beating people's asses, being in fire, literally be having near-death experiences, being out in the wee hours in the morning, fighting crime, saving the day, literally being responsible for everyone in the town from all of the horrible bad things that keep going on here, because it's became pretty obvious that there was issues within Townsville before the girl showed up. Like it always is with a lot of these superhero series overall. There is usually some type of villainy crime going on before someone comes in and steps up to fight. It's just kind of like, I understand. It's the Powerpuff Girls. There are just certain things that we are not supposed to be taken seriously. I do think that the professor was a good father in that entire situation where he wanted his girls to go to sleep because he realized how tired they were. But then, you know, the city was being messed up. It's so odd how the city just puts so much responsibility onto this family instead of anybody else trying to step up and step in and trying to help them. Because Miss Bellum, we're gonna get to her later, she did what she could to try to help them. The professor, not the professor, the mayor literally is an idiot. He depended on the Powerpuff Girls to come in and fix everything for him. We're gonna get to him in a minute because he's awful. Like I said, I don't want to sit here and say that the professor is a bad dad, because the only instances where we really saw that he was a bad dad was when he was basically under seducer's spell, or like other instances like that where he truly did not mean it and he became neglectful to his daughters because he ended up dating a woman by the name of Miss Keene, who was the girl's, you know, teacher. And while I necessarily didn't like it seeing that the professor would be mean to his daughters in those instances, it also just goes to show you that this man is just not as perfect as we thought he was, because we be talking about cartoon dads that we love and appreciate, but then also it's just kind of like, it's scary to think of, because it's like, I know he wants the best for his daughters, but like at the same time, it's weird because it's like they have no choice but to go out and fight, but then you see how this is affecting them in negative ways and he really kind of can't do anything about it. Now, the professor's love life. It's obvious that women like him. He's a dilf. Like, let's be for real. And because of that, we can see why he doesn't have a romantic relationship, because something always goes wrong when he is dating another woman. It never goes right for the professor. But then also the professor is somebody that seems to be more interested in his career than he is in women, which isn't a bad thing. I understand it. He's married to science, okay? He's married to science, but also I don't even think that women are really his main concern, because while he is just worried about his job, he's also just worried about just raising his daughters. And a lot of people are like that. Like, if things don't work out with their partner, they're just like, yeah, my focus is my kid. That is who I am keeping my attention to. And speaking of the professor, one thing a lot of people don't know is that the girls don't have a mom. They just like me for real, because I don't have a mama no more either. But no, like, my mama died, but like, they don't have a mom at all. Like, ever. They've never had a mother, but I'd say that they did have good motherly figures in their life, who we are all going to get into in a minute. But the professor, he's the dad. Dilf. Love him. I honestly, I'm gonna be real, I would date a man like that. Very, very gray romantic. Like, when I like men like once every 2 months, that's the kind of guy I want. Alright, now we have the government aspect of the Powerpuff Girls, which it literally, when you're a kid, you don't notice it because you don't really know how the government works. And even as an adult to a certain extent, you don't understand certain things about it, because there are things that should go one way and they go south. But then you're an adult and you realize how messed up this is, and you're like, yeah, I can see why the crime rate is here. Like, the city of Townsville is known for it just being a ghetto place to live in. So basically, the person that is in charge of the city of Townsville would have to be the mayor. That's literally his name. Literally is that. Now, let me tell you about something when it comes to the mayor. He has this phone in his office, and I'm pretty sure he has one in his house too, because crime be happening at night and crime be happening when he don't be at work. He has a phone that calls the Powerpuff Girls. Fuzzy Lumpkin is throwing a fit at the grocery store. Can you come and get him? Like, that's literally how it goes down every single time. He calls them and he's like, girls, 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 I'm in danger. Come help me. And then they come and they rush right away. Now, I find it so interesting how they have a phone at, like, you know, the office that he's in. He has a phone in his house, but the Powerpuff Girls, not only do they have a phone in, you know, their home, they also have a phone in the school they attend. Literally, Miss King could be in the middle of teaching. We're gonna get to Miss King in a second after we're done with this section. Miss King could literally be teaching and they would be interrupted because, oh, the girls have to go whoop some ass today. So, oh well. Which is kind of funny because Bubbles and Buttercup needed to be in school, but Blossom was smart. So Blossom probably is the one that caught them all up to date. How did he get this job? There is just something that is beyond me. Always when it comes to people in office, and y'all know who he is, you just sit here and you're just like, you were not qualified for this position. How did you get it? That's literally the only questions that I have with the mayor. He's annoying. He's just kind of like comic relief. But like, no, I'm not even joking. How did he get this job? How has he had this job for so long? Which is where we get into with Miss Bellum. Oftentimes when it comes to people, they would have an assistant, and usually it would be like wealthy people that can afford to have an assistant. Y'all are so lucky. Miss Bellum basically is, you know, she is mother. My everything. I'm obsessed with Miss Bellum. I am a part of the Miss Bellum Defense Squad. If they wanted to make an entire series about Miss Bellum, I would watch it. I am this close to making a comic just about Miss Bellum. Like my own personal fan comic about Miss Bellum. If anybody would like to read, I would throw her in there. She's also going to be in Style Queen, so make sure you guys are checking out Style Queen. But Miss Bellum, she's my everything. She is mother, but I realize I'm just over here gloating and praising about her instead of explaining what exactly she does. Miss Bellum is a woman whose face we've never seen, but because of the energy that she excludes, we can tell that she is a very, very pretty woman. Because one thing I have noticed about a lot of y'all, I ain't saying no names, but a lot of these celebrities and influencers, while they can be very cute in the face and have a very, you know, conventionally attractive body by society standards, that personality and that attitude stank. Like, we don't want that. Miss Bellum, on the other hand, she ain't like that whatsoever. She's sophisticated, she's nice, she knows when to put people in check, she knows when she has to whip ass when needed, she knows how to get the job done, and she knows how to take care of things when they need to be settled. So that is why everyone likes Miss Bellum, and if you don't like Miss Bellum, you're just a big hater. One thing about Miss Bellum though is that sometimes I just wish they did more with her in the series. I'm obsessed with her. I've been obsessed with her since I was like in middle school, when I finally started to stop being a hating ass bitch and start appreciating more female characters. But also, she's basically like the sexy secretary trope. I still need to make that video about Miss Bellum and just how the Powerpuff Girls portrays adult women in general within this series. That's going to be another topic for another discussion, because basically, remember, this is a video for people. Act as if you don't know nothing about the Powerpuff Girls while you're watching this, okay? It's just a breakdown. But basically, Miss Bellum is the person that keeps his ass in check. And then also, sometimes he be forgetting to call the phone. Like, he forgets to call the Powerpuff Girls on the phone. So she sometimes will be like, get the phone and call them. You know that this is all you have to do at this point. You don't do anything. I'm the one that runs your job. You don't do much of anything. You can't even remember to pick up the phone. So that's basically that. I'm pretty sure that Miss Bellum had called the girls on her own before, if I recall, because he just wasn't getting his stuff together, or he was probably kidnapped. But also, on another hand, Miss Bellum is like a positive figure towards the girls, because as you guys know, the Powerpuff Girls don't have a mother. So she is kind of motherly towards them. She is more of a mentor towards them. And the girls truly do appreciate her. They do look up to her. They admire her. She gives them really, really nice advice. And it's funny because people be calling Miss Bellum a MILF even though she don't have kids. And I'm like, I understand it, because she gives MILFy energy because she's this hot older woman, but she works really well with children. As we've seen how she interacts with the Powerpuff Girls. I understand it, I get it, but she's just the waifu. So moving on from Miss Bellum, the only other part of the government that we really can just speak much about in the series we just have to be law enforcement, which is the cops, and they don't do much of anything. They are not good at their jobs because, you know, basically when crime happen, they show up and they be crying and screaming until the girls get there and save the day for them. They're honestly kind of useless. The only time they're not really useless is when somebody need to be thrown in jail, and that's it. And then sometimes not even that, because sometimes the girls throw them in jail themselves, but they're not that smart. And one thing I have noticed when it comes to a lot of superhero series in general, because the Powerpuff Girls does fall into the superhero genre, is that law enforcement ain't all that great. Like, I understand how it's supposed to be like in real life because it's not all that great too in general, but bear with me. It's like on 10 how terrible it is over here. They literally don't do anything. It's like they literally don't even try to help people anymore. They're just like, oh, the superheroes are gonna come and save the day. I don't gotta do nothing. I'll be fine. And it's just sitting here like, I know art imitates life and life imitates art, so it can be seen a bit as satirical as how law enforcement is IRL, and I'm trying to keep this as a T because sometimes, you know, YouTube be getting kind of iffy when you bring up situations like that. But yeah, they don't do much of anything. Mainly it's her running the government in this town. It's mainly her, Miss Bellum. That's why we said she is mother. Next. Hi everyone, the captain here. I just wanted to get on here real quick and tell you guys thank you so much for your support. I have gotten so much fan art from you guys, and I've met plenty of y'all in person at the conventions that I have been at. And also thank you guys so much for coming to the panels that I host. It means so much to me. You guys are so great. I appreciate every little last bit of support you guys give me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can say thank you 100 times, but I truly do mean it. Thank you. Welcome back. I hope you got yourself a snack. Hope you got yourself some water, because I know we're learning a lot about the Powerpuff Girls classic today. But now we are moving on to the section, the school. Pokey-Oaks. That's the name of the school. Mainly, there's only 3 people at this school that you really need to know of, because I'm gonna be real, the others are not really that important, mainly because we don't see them all that much. Like, yes, there is an entire episode where the other kids in their class end up drinking Chemical X. Don't do that. But I'm pretty sure Mojo gave them Chemical X, and they ended up being superheroes for a day, and it just crashed and burned on them in the end. And there also is another episode where the girls ended up having a sleepover with all the girls within their class. It was very cute and wholesome until Mojo bitch ass came in and ruined that. We're gonna get to Mojo later on, but overall, that's just all you need to know. And there was a kid that ate glue all the time, and I don't like how the girls were mean to that kid that was Woo, that episode low-key felt a little racist, what they did. But anyway, the Powerpuff Girls is a show. Let me tell you, you ever just watch something and realize how white it is? This show is one of the whitest shows out here, because last time I recalled, I really don't remember any people of color being of importance in here. Like, everybody was white. I'm not even joking. There was no diversity in here. And usually if there was some type of diversity within the series, they were like racist caricatures. I'm not even joking. This show low-key gave panty and stocking at times with that. But anyway, here we have the teacher that runs it all, who is Miss Keene. Very, very sweet, beautiful woman. She is a bit of a motherly figure to the Powerpuff Girls just as well, because as you guys know, don't got no mama. Miss Keene, overall, she's just nice. She's just sweet. The kids can be disrespectful to her at times, but that's just kind of the nature of being a teacher, which is why I can't be one, because, ooh, I tell you, if one of my students say something rude to me, I'ma say your mama, and it's gonna be over. Like, and hey moms that be watching me, hi. Like, no shade to y'all good, I like y'all, but like, ooh, that's why I can't be a teacher. But Miss Keene, for the most part, I don't really have much to say about her. She's just nice, sweet teacher, pretty. I really do like her character design. One thing about the Powerpuff Girls is just that we did see like quite a few adult women within the series, but we do remember that this is a show that focuses on the girls, so it's mainly just gonna take place with them. But I also kind of wish that like they had more like, you know, motherly figures. I wouldn't even say motherly figures in here. I just would have liked to see more adult women within the series, because so many of the villains that they fought were like adult men. So anyway, but that's Miss Keene. She also dated the professor. It didn't work out. He was not being a good dad to his daughters when they dated. So yeah, you focus on teaching. Professor, you focus on being a scientist and raising your daughters, okay? But it was so weird, because it was just like Miss Keene is like the teacher to the girls. Question, I noticed this with Abbott Elementary. Is it weird for a teacher to be dating their student's parent? Like, please let me know, because is that a problem? Is that like an issue? But that's something I really didn't want to take into account with this, because I thought that was kind of odd that Miss Keene dated the professor, but she was the girls' teacher. I was like, because it really did affect her dynamic with the girls and just her teaching in general. I'm telling y'all, the episodes with the Powerpuff Girls that be about the adults slap so hard. Those are the main ones I be watching. Moving on, we have Mitch Mitchelson. He basically is the school bully, and it's funny because none of the girls are like scared of him. If anything, he's scared of the girls. That's it. Also, there was a kid in the class that ate glue, and he turned into like a glue monster. And I feel like we all had like a kid in our class that ate glue. I wasn't the kid in the class that ate glue, but I was the kid in the class that played with glue. Like, you know, the ones that put glue on their hands and then rip it off? That was me. I didn't eat glue. What you make y'all think I was gonna ingest that stuff? Y'all, I did not believe that kids ate glue when I watched this episode when I was little. I was like, that's so nasty. People don't eat glue. And then I went to school and found out that there was kids in my class getting in trouble for eating glue. And that's the reason why they make non-toxic glue nowadays. Like vegan glue and all that. Because people eat glue. Huh? Like, the smell. Glue? It tastes good. Like, but anyway, I got so distracted by Glue Boy Mitch. I don't really got much to say. He just there. He's just annoying. He's mainly Buttercup little friend. Mainly we see him with Buttercup interacting because she knows how to put his ass in his place. But they're a cute little friendship. Moving on, Princess. The main thing that we really got to talk about with the series, Princess Morbucks. Princess Morbucks, in my opinion, she is what brings the drama to the Powerpuff Girls. If you in the mood for some mess, watch the Princess Morbucks episodes of the show. Princess, for the most part, is just a very spoiled rich girl. She gets everything that she wants, and that's part of the reason why the girls don't necessarily like her, is because she feels as if she can have everything she wants. Princess's main goal within the series is that she wants to be a Powerpuff Girl. She wants to be a superhero. But honestly, this bitch be giving Chloe Bourgeois from Miraculous Ladybug and low-key Mal Bertha from descendants, because how you over here wanting to help people but you have so many internal issues within yourself that you're not fit for doing that. Princess, for the most part, she just wanted attention because it's so obvious that that shit was lacking when she was at home. Her daddy just gave her whatever she wanted. He just gave her money and whatever. It's obvious that there was some neglect going on there with her. But the way she treated her classmates, ooh, it was bad. It was terrible. She wondered why none of the kids in her class liked her. But well, maybe if she wasn't so freaking mean all the time, she wouldn't have had that issue. So that's just really most of what you can say with Princess. Most people remember her character from the Christmas special, basically the fight before Christmas, where she didn't like the fact that she was on the naughty list, but basically she was like, well, my wish, all I want for Christmas is to be a powerpuff girl. So she was like, I want to be a powerpuff girl, and because of that, I'm gonna ruin everybody else's Christmas. Like I said, not fit to be a superhero. She is the last person that we need saving us. But girl failure, like literally girl failure. We love to laugh at her. She brings the mess to the series. Like I said, if you want to move with some mess, watch the Princess Morbucks episodes of the show. She's just an annoying brat, but she always loses in the end. She always gets what she deserves. So yeah, she's just fun to laugh at. She's entertaining. I really do enjoy her character design. I just think it's so damn adorable. I was drawing it the other day, but I really do like her design. I think it's super duper fun and funky. This is all you really need to know when it comes to the school environment for the Powerpuff Girls. It's honestly not that entertaining, even though it's one of the settings that we see the most often within the show. But yeah, that's just basically the premise. The most interesting thing with them would have to be Morbucks, I'd say. And then like, if one of the kids in the school get like akumatized or whatnot, like, no, there's like situations like that, like the glue episode. Section of this video, we will be discussing the subject of the villains within it, but there is just a brief disclaimer that I just want to make first before we go into detail. I will not be talking about the character of him, mainly because there has just been so much talks and discussion over the character him, and I don't want to say something that is offensive by accident or something that someone thinks is fine, but then on the other hand, someone else doesn't. There's just so much confusion when it comes to him's character, and I'm at a point where I just don't really know how I feel about him. And him is his name, because it's even gotten to the point where people aren't even sure of what pronouns to call him. It's concerning, and there is just going to be a whole separate video on why I just don't really speak about this character, because I remember a lot of you guys wanted me to talk about him's character, but then I saw so many different opinions that were about him, and a lot of these opinions were coming from the LGBT community. There were some that really did like him, and then there were some that just flat out hated him. So yeah, that's going to be in another video. So because of that, we're just not going to talk about him at all on this section when it comes to the villains, because like I said, I want to be a good ally to the trans community, but also remember that I am cisgendered. I am a guest in that community. I don't want to feel as if I've overstepped my boundaries, or if I said something that was very deeply offensive, and because there's so many different opinions on this character. So moving forward, we're gonna get into the villains of the series. We did not name every single last villain within here, because there was a boogie villain that basically was bothering people in their sleep, and then there also was a broccoli villain because nobody in town wanted to eat their vegetables. We're not doing every single last villain within this show because there's just too many of them. The Powerpuff Girls operates on a Monster of the Week format, but it isn't like that Scooby-Doo Monster of the Week format where you have a new villain every single episode. Well, yes, oftentimes we do have newer villains. There's just times where we just keep seeing the recurrence of like these main 4 and in 5 if we're going to include him, but we're not talking about him right now, so we're just going to talk about these 4, which is Fuzzy Wunderkind, Mojo, actually 6 because Rowdy Rough Boys, the Gang Green Gang, and Sedusa. Sedusa, I'd say, is really the only recurring female villain that we saw within the show, aside from Princess Morvex, because Princess is technically a villain just as well, but she was also one of the girls' classmates, but she was also really the only girl villain their age, to be exact, too. Because if the girls were fighting another girl their age, it was usually a miscommunication and it was worked out later. Princess, they never made amends with her. The head villain, the one that really makes the most appearances, would have to be Mojo Jojo. There's like this ongoing like joke of the internet about how the Powerpuff Girls used to just be beating his ass so bad. But no, Mojo be deserving that. Mojo honestly be deserving that, but also come to find out part of the reason why Mojo has such strong dislike towards the Powerpuff Girls is because he used to be like the professor's pet. He used to live with the professor, and so much of that resentment that he has towards the professor, he takes it out on his daughters because he basically saw the girls as like his replacement, which they technically were, but like, Mojo, you gotta let go. You gotta let go. Let that hurt go. Mojo, like I said, he's just the series. This is main villain, the villain that people recognize the most when they bring up the Powerpuff Girls. He's just... really know much to say about Mojo because everyone in the show is annoying, but I can't sit here and say that every single last character within here is annoying. But Mojo, he's just the monkey. He's a mad scientist. That's always what goes into superhero series. He's honestly, they like to say that Mojo was smart. He ain't that smart. He always going to jail. We actually saw that as locked up before. But one thing about Mojo Jojo's character that we have to bring up is that he basically is a dad. Mojo's a dad. For those of you guys who didn't know, act like you didn't know. Be shocked. Oh my god. He's the dad. He's the father. But Mojo has 3 sons who are basically the Rowdy Rough Boys, which are Butch. What are their names? I'm telling you, let me tell you, there's a reason why nobody remembers the Rowdy Rough Boys names, and that's because they're literally just copies of each other. They're not that interesting. Y'all know the character work that they put in with the Powerpuff Girls? They didn't do that with them. That's the same character, just different colors. Hey Google, what are the Rowdy Rough Boy names? Okay, their names are Brick, Boomer, and Butch. Brick is the red one, which is basically Blossom's counterpart. Boomer, which is Bubbles' counterpart. And then Butch is the green one, which is Buttercup's counterpart. I don't even know what to say about them. They basically were just created by Mojo for the sake of, you know, fighting the Powerpuff Girls. Because Mojo old. That ass old. So he literally was like, why don't they fight some people their own age? And they'll probably lose to them. And they were actually this close to losing with them. But you know, the mother herself, Miss Bellum, stepped in and helped and saved the day with the girls. So they were able to defeat the Rowdy Rough Boys. But they're literally, that's just their name. They're rowdy, they're rough, they're annoying, they're gross, they're disgusting, they're slobs. Literally the complete opposite of what the Powerpuff Girls are. Like I said, I can't even really tell them apart. They all 3 of them act the same. They're not that interesting standalone as like characters, but when we see what the show does with them, it's always enjoyable. There even was an episode where Bubbles went undercover as one of the Rowdy Rough Boys, the blue one, and it was honestly really funny to see. That's actually one of the Rowdy Rough Boy episodes that I highly do recommend, because I'm tired of the first Rowdy Rough Boy episode where we're introduced to them and then they died in the end, because yes, they died. They actually died. And also, I would like to say that the Rowdy Rough Boys were born in jail. Like, literally, Mojo made them in jail. I think they were made in the toilet, too, if I'm being correct. They were made in the toilet in jail. That is nasty. But then again, they're disgusting. So, the entirety of the Rowdy Rough Boys is that they're just disgusting. Next, we have the GGG, which is basically the Gang Green Gang. It's just basically, I'm pretty sure they're like teenagers. They're gross, they're green, they make me really uncomfortable because of that episode. You know what that episode is? I just don't like them. I don't really like their episodes for the most part. I know, like I said, everyone in this series can be obnoxious, but them, the gang, no. If I had to pick between Fuzzy Lumpkin and the Gang Green Gang episodes, I think I'd pick the Gang Green Gang simply because Fuzzy Lumpkins literally scares me. He's literally scary. He's racist. I don't care what nobody says. That man racist. He literally live in the woods by himself. He shoot anybody that come in sight. I don't even like what he did to Miss Bellum, because it was that episode where he basically like the mayor of town, and he made Miss Bellum wear this outfit. I still need to do it as a cosplay because it was a cute outfit, but when you think of the context of the situation of what was happening, he was really wrong for making her put that on. He had her in the Daisy Dukes, and you don't know the Daisy Dukes song? I'm gonna put a clip in here for it.
Come on, baby, keep them Daisy.
He had her in some Daisy Dukes. He had her in this shirt that showed her boobage, and she had no shoes on either. So it was just like, I don't even think I explained Fuzzy Lumpkin. He pink, blob, fuzzy thing that lives in the woods, and he doesn't like people, and he's terrifying. He's actually very terrifying. But like, moving back to the Gang Green Gang, the Gang Green Gang, they're just like your typical mall rat type characters. They need to go to juvie. Just send them to the juvie. It's obvious they don't want to go to school. Because there is an episode where they end up going to Pokey Oats with them, and they were too old to be in there. I don't like the Gang Green Gang. And then the last villain that we are going to be bringing up is Sedusa, and I said that we love to hate her because Sedusa's introduction to the series is that she basically is a really bad mother figure towards the girls, where she basically was dating the professor as a way to, you know, stop the powerpuff girls, because she was contributing to all of the robberies that was happening within Townsville. It was her. That was what she was doing, and she realized that if she could date the professor, that will literally have her be able to do what she does. Like, don't quit me wrong, but it literally kind of reminds me of that Julia Fox situation when she was dating Kanye, and people asked her, why did you date Kanye? And she said, oh, because I wanted to distract him from, like, you know, harassing Kim Kardashian. And I was like, that's low-key what Sedusa did, because she literally dated the professor to distract the girls from like saving the day so she can go over here and do crime stuff. It's honestly just kind of like and I'm not kind of compare Sedusa to Julia Fox whatsoever. Julia is like another can of worms in itself. I don't have no disdain towards her whatsoever, but it was just something that reminded me of it when that entire situation happened, and I was like, that low-key reminded me of Sedusa. But we just love to hate Sedusa. She's fun to laugh at. She's literally what I wish we could have seen a little bit more within this series, but then also at the same time, it contributes to the issue that I have with the way the Powerpuff Girls portrays its female adult characters, which is another topic for another discussion, because I want to save that for like the video that I have planned about that entire arc, because the way Cartoon Network in general portrayed their adult female characters during that time period of that being like the late 90s and the early 2000s, it didn't age well, and it's just very much questionable. And I think it's just really present within the Powerpuff Girls and Dexter's Laboratory, and those shows are kind of like cousins if we're being exact. Now we have come to the end of the unhinged breakdown of the Powerpuff Girls. Now you literally heard about everything that I said within this series, and as we all know that the Powerpuff Girls was said to be adapted into a CW drama, which is that even still a go? Is that still happening? But basically social media was having a field day about that entire situation. It literally was a mess. I had a friend that was working on it at the time it happened. I ended up reading that leaked script. It was a disaster. But the Powerpuff Girls is something that I'd say is something that really truly shines when it is in cartoon format. The Powerpuff Girls works as a comic book. The Powerpuff Girls works as an animated series. It works as a cartoon. It won't work live action. Like, literally, the girls don't even have fingers. The girls don't have fingers. Literally, monkeys are not about to be running around causing havoc. The gang. No. I don't even think Miss Bella's character would be that interesting in real life. There's just so many factors that contribute to why that series just really wouldn't work live action. And they said that the pilot is going to be reshot and redone. I have yet to heard any updates on that. I'm not even sure if they had redone the pilot or if it's still in the works. But if that pilot was too ridiculous by CW standards, that's telling you something that, yeah, this wasn't going to work exactly. Because we can take something like a Scooby-Doo. We have seen Scooby-Doo be adapted into live action a few times, but really the only really wacky thing about it is that there's a talking dog. We see talking dogs all the time in media. It's not really anything new. It's not really anything out of the ordinary. Even with the Cat in the Hat live action movie, which is going to be another video for another time, we've seen talking big animal for cats. But when we think of that situation and then think of the Powerpuff Girls, it's not like it's just a one-off thing of this happening. The entirety of the Powerpuff Girls, it's low-key a bit of a satire of society, because certain things that work in cartoons is just going to look super duper goofy and annoying in real life. We sit here and complain about how the mayor's an idiot in the cartoon. It's most likely not going to be funny live action because of how over the top he is with that. The experiments, the robberies, the villains, the overall, it's supposed to be campy. The reason it works is because the possibilities are just low-key kind of endless when it comes to cartoons. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really did enjoy making this unhinged breakdown. I do plan to do more of these. The last unhinged breakdown we did was last summer. It was a Miraculous Ladybug. If you guys are interested in watching that, I will have the video to that link down below, especially because I just don't feel like talking about that show all that much anymore. But you guys liked it. Thank you so much for watching. I truly did enjoy making it. I'm tired now. This took so much of my energy out. Mind you that I have to record a few more videos out after this. Ow! But you guys want to follow me on Instagram, at Harry. All my other Instagrams are down below. My shop and my blog link down below. Thank you so much for watching and have a good night.
Now that you see, you should beware of the power of three. They come to fight as fast as they can. They're dangerous yet fabulous. Professor Utonium made them eschew. They are the colors of pink, green, and blue. They'll catch you in the blink of an eye and do it all before bedtime.